guys, today I'm going to share a book review. It was the first book I read this year, so I'm really excited to kind of jump in and get to talk a little bit more about just the one book instead of a full wrap-up. But the first book I read this year was Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This book is about a reporter named Camille who works for the Chicago Daily Post, and we figure out right off the bat that she's battling alcoholism and another mental illness. She actually just left a stint at a psych hospital dealing with some of her past, and so we get to know her and trying to figure out why this past is really as bad as she's making it seem. And one day her boss gives her an assignment to go to Wind Gap. Wind Gap just so happens to be the place that she grew up and where she's from and hasn't been back to in 8 years. So she's definitely dreading the return. So her boss sends her to Wind Gap to report on a story about two preteen girls that have been murdered within 9 months of each other. So there's speculation that it could be a serial killer, and whether it was somebody that was traveling through or somebody that was actually in the town itself. So we had to watch Camille try to piece together her story while dealing with her real life that she's been avoiding for the last 8 years. And we definitely get to see why she's avoided Wind Gap for 8 years. Her family's crazy, intense. The mom is way too much to handle. She definitely has some issues, and this family is just messed up, and so you really get to understand why she was the way that she is. It's definitely creepy and eerie, and there is some very interesting characters that play these roles, so I think it was nice to have more than just a main character, but to have these other independent characters that really brought a lot to the book. I think the younger sister, we were made to hate her right off the bat, and I think she ended up being a very interesting character towards the end and had a lot of play in here, and you almost come to like her too. So it was kind of weird to see you flip between hate to like on one of these characters. I also liked that Camille was very relatable, and she became very strong in this moment of these weaknesses in this town, and so I think it was awesome to see her stand up, but I definitely think it was great to see a strong female lead that had a dark past and yet was still battling those current battles that she's had. I think it was an interesting read and definitely had me intrigued the whole time. Every time I thought I had something figured out, there was another twist. And while I did have things partially right, there was one moment at the end that was just jaw-dropping, and the twist that I did not see coming. I literally was freaking out. I just could not believe it. I wish the end would have been a little bit longer, because once things started to fall into place, it went very quickly. But other than that, I think this was a fantastic read. All of Flynn's books are amazing. I'd love to know if you guys have read Sharp Objects or any other of Flynn's novels. So leave a comment below if you've read any of them, what your thoughts were. Thanks for watching.